Hi, I have a bowl of cherries with me right now. The date is August 18th. I began this quilt on July 10th. I think that's mold on that cherry. It's just too goofy for it to be legit. This quilt has been laborious, tedious, exhausting. I've spent a lot of time on it. And you know what? It's not even done, because when I got out here I realized I missed one thread. It needs a wash, so when I'm done here, I'm going to throw it in the washing machine, put it on the line. If it's not dry by the time I take it in tonight, it goes in the dryer, so that by the time I leave for work tomorrow morning, very early, haha, it'll be done, because I made it for my coworker. Tomorrow is her last day, and boy am I cutting it close. What's the story behind this quilt? Well, the story is, after I completed the Rainbow Rift, I showed some of my coworkers because I'm very proud of that quilt and I think it's beautiful. And I didn't want to get rid of it either, or give it away. Get rid of it. It's not really a good way to put it. The reactions went from, "Oh, that's so beautiful. Another beautiful quilt, Janine. Aha!" That's not how they talk. To my one coworker, I don't think she's ever seen anything I've quilted before. As far as I know, nobody from my current place of employment knows about this channel. That's good. My one coworker, she asked me if she could have the Rainbow Rift. Yeah, I can make you one. But that's not really what I said. I was thinking, she wants me to make her a quilt? That's awesome. I've wanted to do that forever. Not forever. I think that's so cool. It sounded very like, well, I don't know if I'll make you a quilt. Like, it just, I don't know. Didn't really know what I was getting into until about this morning. So that's quite a long lead time, I would say. I had an idea to do like star blocks, and then I was like, yo, we work at a boar stud, so pigs. And I found a free block online for pigs, and I used the star block from the county fair quilt I did earlier this year. It's a simple star block, you can figure it out, but all the blocks are 8 inches. They're supposed to be. Are they? Probably not. I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, but I didn't have enough variety of color in the bundle I had picked out. So I just kind of winged it. I made it up myself as I went. I could show you my steps, but like I think the final product is more important than how I got there. I don't know, maybe it's more about the journey than like the destination, you know? Is it like The Hobbit? I liked the ombre idea. I like star blocks, they're pretty easy. I thought the pigs were really cute, so I stuck with that. I wasn't really paying much attention while I was making all the different blocks. So when I got to the end and I was laying them out, I was like, I don't know if that's big enough. Well, whatever. Sewed them into rows, sewed the rows together, and then looked at it again. I was like, that's really not big enough. I don't think. I mean, she's a little bit, she might be like an inch or two shorter than me. Like if you're gonna do it, you might as well go all the way. But I didn't think I had enough fabric, and I didn't really know how, like without messing up the whole like vibe. So I did a border, and it's not bad, I don't think. I will say the quilting job I did on this quilt, horrendous. Originally I was going to do a grid like the Rainbow Rift. I think I explained it. I was out here earlier this week. I was going to cut the grass because I was really frustrated. The backing is perfect, but the topper, there's always like a little extra fabric. And I know why I made this mistake, because when I am quilting horizontally, I don't make sure that it is flat and taut between the lines. So while the backing is right, the top, there's like a little extra fabric, not enough to notice it, but you know, anything more than maybe like 1/8 of an inch. I've been running into that problem again. I had it with the Rainbow Rift quilt, and I was like, you know, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It wasn't for that quilt, so I was like, oh, I can, you know, if I have a little overlap, it'll be fine for this one. So far, I've quilted, I think, 4 lines, and I just got so discouraged as I started. And I was like, it's not gonna be that bad. But every line is about the same, and I'm like, I hope it doesn't show up in the final quilt. It's not gonna work. So I cut the grass, it was fine. I think I do a pretty snazzy job. But I had already done parallel lines around the rows, where the rows come together. I was like, I need to pull it out, so I did. I think that's the first time I actually used my seam ripper after I've quilted something don't really like to do that too much. Then I was just like, you know what, I will take some lines down the middle here. Instead of just these, go down the middle. It's great. I laid my quilt out. I was like, wow, this does not look great. I didn't take a picture because I don't want to remember what that looks like. So it's pretty common for quilts not to be square after quilting them. That's just how it works sometimes, and that's fine. Fabric moves because it's supposed to. You'd have trouble quilting concrete, wouldn't you? It wasn't square. It wasn't even rectangular after I was done. I thought, okay, I'll rip this one. It was just specifically this one that I had a problem with. And you notice it really only so much on the pig blocks that they're a little bit distorted, and also the border. The border looks really pitiful, but it's a good thing my coworker doesn't know anything about quilts. I'm hoping after I wash this and it gets all crinkly that it'll kind of just smooth over some of the problems. I don't know that that's going to happen, but what choice do I really have? I seam ripped this quilted line out of this specific row here in the middle, and I redid it. And it looked just as bad, so I pulled it out and was like, I'm done. Trimmed the quilt, did a little math. I think it measures about 63 inches by 52. I had asked my coworker very discreetly, hey, when you're on the couch, how big do you like your blanket? Oh, I like it to cover me completely. I was thinking, okay, I got a lot of work cut out for me making this border. You know how hard it is to sew straight if you've never quilted? You're like, ah, that's a funny joke, Janine. Quilted it, did the binding. But before I talk about the binding, I want to talk about the backing. Sunday, I know, went to Walmart, bought a flat sheet, about 20 bucks for the 300 thread count, and then I got another one that was about 11 bucks, and they had those tubes of cookie dough, 3 for 8 bucks, and that's the best deal that I can find around here. So I bought $16 worth, which is 6 tubes. I'm gonna bake me a batch of cookies and bring them to work because my coworkers really like that. I like to do it on Fridays, especially because Fridays have become a really hectic and hellish day. Cookies are a really great band-aid option. Then I went home, I basted the quilt. Very, very great job I did at that. The whole basting thing falls apart when I start quilting. That's a me problem. Yada yada blah blah blah. I put a label, I think, in this corner or that corner, the other one, because I don't like to attach it on the front. Like it on the back better. Yeah, I don't know why I had to go into such detail, but bed sheets are cheaper than buying fabric. Catch me doing that again. And binding. I had very limited resources this morning. This is wild because whenever I do a really great job on the binding, it's because I spent probably 12 to 18 hours hand stitching it. And this I probably did in about an hour, maybe. I did the machine binding method. So attached my binding strips like usual with the diagonal seam approach, which you do get a little bit of waste from that, but depending on how big your strips are, you can use those and like HSTs, have some fun with that, you know. So I used 2.5-inch strips, attach them. Then I didn't video this, but the crucial key part is once you've got it attached to the front, you flip it. You flip it like flip it. You take your iron and you press it so that when you go to flip it, finish flipping it, I guess, over the backside, it's very smooth. I think that was the secret sauce for this quilt. And then I just flipped it, clipped it, sewed it. Kind of like in the ditch. Some people like to sew the front. I've tried it. I don't think I have the right foot for it. I think I do need like an edge foot for that to look really great. So I just did my best to get it in the ditch. And it's caught on pretty much every square inch of the back where there's a nice little stitch on the binding to attach it to the quilt. And the spots that I missed, I just marked it with a clip and then went back and hand stitched because it's only like maybe a couple inches at the most. There were a few sections, but that's okay. The quilt is done. Quilt needs to be washed. Quilt needs to be dried and then carefully placed into a bag so I can give it to my coworker tomorrow. If I've learned anything. It has been that I'm going to take a break from quilting after this. Like a serious break, if I can help it. I spent my entire weekend doing this. it was okay, but like I shouldn't have pushed myself like that, because Monday I was wiped out. I've been spending every square moment working on this. I had these high hopes of doing a Nova Star quilt this summer, and I kind of in the back of my pocket thought, that's not gonna happen. I am so gosh darn predictable. Maybe next summer, or the summer after that. I don't know. I'm trying to do videos that will get a lot of views here on the internet, because the idea is like maybe to make some money off of this. Like I said, I work with pigs, not directly, but I work at a boar stud, and while there are many joys in life, having the images of sperm cells imprinted into your retinas when you fall asleep means you've been working a little bit too hard too long. Like, I'm not asking to quit my job or get fired at the moment. It's a great job, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from quilting, but I will have a video up in September. That'll probably be quilt related, because that's the only thing people really seem to want to watch. I think I'm going to clean up my quilting space, get everything organized and safely put away, and just kind of sink into the work, because now that my coworkers are leaving, as far as I know, I'm getting more hours, which is kind of a double-edged spoon, because I like my coworker a lot. I also like hours. If you want to see any of my other videos, especially quilting videos, I will leave a link to a playlist, or I'll put it up here, but you can find it on my channel pretty easily. If I choke on a cherry pit, we will have evidence. She died doing something she kind of enjoyed. If I had a headstone, please don't put it on that. I don't really want to be buried in a grave. Donate me to science, if they'll take me.